These were the two most interesting jobs. So, the first one was, so my boss had like, he was like super rich and he had like horses in his like field. He had like a big stable, like an actual massive horse thing, like 10 horses.
And people looking after them for him.
Yeah, literally that, yeah. So he was a big horse person. So naturally, one of our clients became like a racing horse stud farm, essentially, where they make the horses good, I guess.
Good.
Yeah.
We mix the horses together in this pot and we make them good. We make them run fast.
And I didn't know really what a stud farm was. Because I've never been into horses. So like one day my boss was like, you're going to this stud farm, it's about an hour away. And these were like...
You had no questions.
No questions. It was just like, that was my job, wasn't it? I was just like, I'm going to go film some horses. Because I'd filmed some of his horses before. I just assumed it would just be them like running around and stuff.
Oh, this is going to get dark.
And this is... So bear in mind, these horses are like this farm was bred the most prestigious horses, essentially, in the UK. Like Olympic riding horses, those kind of horses, like big bastards.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds
meaty horses.
Meaty horses.
Okay.
Made some naughty burgers out of them. Yeah, so I just got there and I got to have my camera out, and this was like, so they didn't pay for any equipment at my old job, so I just had my old 60D with me, not even a gimbal, just nothing, yeah. And then I got it out and he was like, right, follow me. And we go into this, almost like a science lab. And I was like, what the fuck? And there's all these people with labs and there's test tubes and they're mingling around. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of weird. And then, so the lab's here. And then there's a big window. And then there's almost like a big room full of hay on the floor. And the horse goes in. And then there's a fake horse in the room. And I was like, this is a bit odd. So they bring this horse in, right? They bring this horse in, and I'm like, that's a big old horse. Yeah, I was like, I don't get nowhere near that. I'll zoom in on my lens, but I go nowhere near that. Because if he kicks you, mate, in the head, see you later. Do you know what I mean? They're mental. So bring this horse in. And he's like, right, you stand here. I want a close-up of this. And this horse just mounts this fake horse, just starts going at it, just like it's a real horse. It's got the holes and everything for it to insert.
This is an image that will forever live rent-free in your mind.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Just whenever you have a moment to yourself during the day, your daydream, your train of thought will just...
And then, obviously, the horse finished inside of it. And that's how they collect the horse's DNA.
Yep.
To make new horses. Because, you know, he was like the best horse in the UK, so obviously they wanted it to have kids. But the reason it was a fake horse and not an actual female horse is if he's doing the deed and that female horse kicks him from behind, it could injure him, and he's still an Olympic level horse. So that's why
it's a safer way.
It's a safer way to whack off a horse. Basically.
Oh, this is far too much information. I don't know what to do with. I want far too many questions. Did they light any candles?
Marvin Gaye in the background.
Marvin Gaye in the background.
There was a hot tub in the corner as well, just for afterwards. Yeah, they gave him a cigarette.
So the horse knew why he was there.
He literally walked.
He went straight to it.
Yeah, they led it to it. Obviously, he was a bit like. I think they'd probably kept him without sex for a few days because he was like neighing and stuff when he walked in.
This conversation is draining my energy already. I'm like,
I think I felt having to film that without knowing. So that was.
So did you get the money shot?
I got the money shot. Do you know what's even worse? That was the last shot. That was the last job I'd filmed before I left the company.
That was it. That was the breaking point.
I didn't even edit it. The new person had to edit it. They would just leave those files on the computer.
Oh.
And we'll get this
Hey, I'm getting started on my new day. Yeah, great. Okay, so what's my first job? So open this folder and watch it.
intently.
Do I get an introduction video on what I'm going to be doing this job? No. Open a video of this horse enjoying a sex doll for horses. Wow.
So my second one is...
I feel like we've grown closer.
We have.
There we go.
I'm glad we had this chat. I got
Fuck's
it off my
sake.
chest. This one
Do you tell...
Go on.
When you have girlfriends, do you tell them this story? Is this like
When
a
we get
first
a bit-
date
when
or
we-
second
when we
date?
get a bit closer, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
It is a good topic starter, though.
Yeah.
It is a good conversation starter. I mean, we spoke about that for like 5 or 10 minutes there.
Yeah, fucking hey, mate.
The second one is
I
less,
feel ill.
is
Go on.
less graphic, but this is a story. When I tell people, especially men, they'll be like, "Oh, mate, you're the luckiest man in the world. What you got to film that?" It's not porn, don't worry.
Oh.
It was nearly.
Ryan's laughing in the background. I need to get like an editor camera for him so you can see
That
him
would be a great shot.
cracking it up in the corner. Yeah.
So one of our clients at the old job was a lingerie company. Yeah.
Okay.
So just picture that, right? And then, so obviously I'm the only video person there, video and photographer at the job. So naturally, every job that comes my way, I have to do. So one day I had to go to this lingerie company. I had to go to their office, and everyone thinks this is the best job in the world. I promise you, it was completely the opposite. So I had to go there, and they'd got 3 of their well-known models that model their lingerie on their website. They brought them in. For me too. Sounds so weird saying it.
Here we go. We're going in, boys.
You know when you get a product, yeah, and you put it on a small turntable. They'd got a human-sized turntable for a model to stand on in the lingerie, and for me to film. So
They can spin round.
they can spin around and people can see what the lingerie
Lazy
looks
Susan.
Like on. Yeah, exactly. One of them.
Yep.
And everyone thinks that is, mate, you got to stand and hang around with these beautiful women in their lingerie all day. Honestly, it was the most awkward experience of my life.
Far too close.
It was just like, even going into it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be sick. And then I got there and like these, honestly, they were like some of the most beautiful women in the world, loveliest people in the world. And you make a rapport with them and you become almost friends with them. And then they change into their lingerie and you're like, shit, where do I look? Where I don't want to be a creep, but I have to look to get the right shot. I'm sure they've probably seen it all before because they are models for lingerie.
That's what they do.
But I'd never done this before and I was like, oh my God, where do I look? I don't want to be a creep. I want to be completely respectful to these women. I don't want to accidentally stare at a boob for 2 seconds too long. Do you know what I mean? All these thoughts going through my head and I thought it was going to be such a good day and it turned out it was just so awkward and... Because you make friends with them as well. It's like imagine if we were having this chat and I just took all my clothes off.
Yeah.
It's odd, isn't it? And so the worst thing was, right? So we broke for lunch, and there was this big long table, and there was 3 models, there was 3 or 4 stylists, there was the 2 owners of the company, and they were like, "Oh, Cameron, come and sit down. Like, we got you lunch as well." And I'm like, buzzing. Like, at least I can have a free lunch on them, so I can sit down at the table. And then the models come in, right, and they're still in their lingerie eating the lunch with us. And I'm like trying to eat a sandwich and be like, don't look at boobs. Don't just or like trying to talk to them and making sure like I'm looking in your eyes like that. Do you know what I mean? It was the most awkward sandwich I've ever eaten in my life. And I was just like, why did you not just put a t-shirt on?
I guess. That's very much part of the male brain.
It is, yeah.
To act like that. After a while, those thoughts disappear.
Yeah.
And you don't respond in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
Yeah.
100%. Because obviously, I was raised by a single mum, so I was just like, it's drilled into my brain, respect women, respect women, respect women. But when you're put into that situation... It's
like a doctor's surgery or whatever.
Yeah.
Just matter of fact. Just get on with it.
When you're just thrown into that situation with no experience of how to handle that. I mean, and again, this was 6 or 7 years ago, so I was like in my very early 20s at that point. So
okay.
It was just like, I was very young, very inexperienced, and just like, do you know what I mean? Like, just thrust into this environment that I'd never been a part of before. And And yeah, I just found it incredibly awkward, and I just put a t-shirt on when you're having a sandwich with me.
I'll just talk to you looking enough this way.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So they were my two weirdest jobs that I've done, I would say. All oddly from an actual job that I had, not freelance.
Okay, yeah. So my weird job, well, not weird, but it was a highlight of my career, is we were taking photos of different products for, again, not horses, but agricultural farms and that kind of stuff. And we were tasked to photograph suppositories for cows.
Okay, good.
And they had props, farm related props, to be able to style these pills with. They reeked. Absolute reeked.
I really need you to. What's a farm related prop to dress?
hay.
Oh, right, okay.
And it wasn't the back end of a fake horse.
Okay, good,
no,
yeah. That's just
it wasn't
horse
quite
breeding.
that. It wasn't that scarring. But yeah, so we propped it up onto some hay bales, a pitchfork, and other such things with the packet as well. And yeah, that was published in a magazine. Highlight of my career. My cow suppository pills were well, there's a market, man. There's cows. You need these things.
Everything.
But it just occurred to me halfway through. Wow, this is what I'm doing. But
at least, so when you said suppository,
it's not as bad as he was imagining that we were actually getting an instructional. They did have the tool there.
Oh, really?
It's like a giant syringe kind of thing. Yeah, you put it in and then you pop and it goes. And the end of it's just like a tool to insert.
Yeah.
So I don't know how else to describe it. So there you go.